We really felt like, in the second unit, trying to upgrade that, adding more floor spacing, guys with high IQs that can make good decisions with the basketball, that fit in seamlessly with, Evan Turner's ability to facilitate with our post play, guys that can play with or behind Dame and CJ, in terms of the backcourt. So, like I said, we had limited tools in terms of all we had was a taxpayer mid-level and minimums. So at this point, what we wanted to do was make sure we secured players we know will fit into our system that can translate immediately in terms of skill set and produce on the court, and then continue to go about our job in terms of the rest of the offseason.
Both to both Nick and Seth, how do you guys feel like you fit in with the team, and can you discuss your decisions to sign with the Trumpets?
Me personally, I feel like I can fit in well. It's one of my favorite offenses, to watch for a long time. Just the way they play, just motion offense. A lot of guys touching the ball, a lot of guys getting involved, whether it's without the ball, playing pick and roll, things like that. So, I feel like with my skill set, I can make it easier on a lot of guys that they already have on the team. To be able to spread the floor, play the one or the two without the ball, like you said. And I'm just looking forward to another opportunity to come in and kind of make my mark again, just having a year off, obviously. And I feel like I have something to prove, just that I can get back to even better than I was before.
Yeah, piggybacking off what Seth said, I think this offense is great for both of us. Getting a chance to guard guys like Dame and CJ over the last couple of years, you start realizing the tough positions that this offense put you in as a defensive player, and the amount of flares that they have here. Obviously, they value shooting. That's something that I feel I could do well, and also seeing the success that Shabazz and Pat had last year coming off the bench. For me, that kind of made me feel a little bit more confident in making my decision. And seeing both those guys leave, for me, I feel like I have an opportunity to come in here and make a difference with that second unit. So. I know it's going to be important for me to come in here and earn those minutes from day one.
Before we move on to some other questions, just want to welcome Nick's girlfriend Alex and Seth's girlfriend Callie and their beautiful daughter Carter. And she's going to stay nice and quiet for the next 15 minutes.
Terry, could you speak to kind of how you envision both Nick and Seth kind of integrating into the team?
Just everything that Neil said.
Okay.
Honestly, offensively, everybody's kind of focused in on that, and what they give offensively is pretty obvious with their ability to handle, to shoot, to make plays, to help out in the second unit. Losing Shabazz and Pat, obviously that left 38 minutes for these two guys to hopefully get. But their game speaks for themselves, and I think it's a great opportunity for both of them, and certainly it's a great opportunity for us.
Both Seth and Nick, I know you guys talked about earning your minutes, but how quickly do you guys see you kind of getting into the rotation on a regular basis?
For me, from day one, I'm just here to work, get better, obviously, and get on the court, be healthy, be consistent, just being on the court and showing that I can do that. And for me, day one practice, day one off season when I get here, to work on my game, try to fit in seamlessly with the offense, and hopefully just not miss a beat. So. I'm not sure about to answer your question specifically, but like I said, my mindset is just to focus on getting here, getting better, and helping the team win.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's up to the coaching staff, with just regards to the rotation, the minutes, or whatever. But as soon as the season ended last season, I felt like I've been in the gym, just starting to prepare, trying to get myself ready for game one of next year. And like I said before, I'm going to do everything I can to come in and just earn those minutes from day one. And I'm excited to get started.
Seth, you said be healthy. Obviously, you've dealt with some injuries. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good right now for the past month. I've getting back to the routine of being in the gym every day, which is exciting to me, just having so much time off and not being able to go in the gym and just have fun on the court every day. So I feel like I have a new life, just being back in my favorite place, which is on the court. And I feel good. It's just a matter of me just getting all the way back in game shape and just getting back to the rhythm of playing 4 5-on-5 basketball. But for me, that's like riding a bike.
Can you talk about where you're at in that rehabilitation? Are you doing on-court work now? Or?
Yeah. I'm past the rehab stage,
okay.
And right now it's just all strength work and court work. So, like I said, it's the fun stuff of working on my game and getting in shape.
Neil, for you, what does the rest of this off-season look like? You've got the two guys who signed here, and what else do you see happening?
I wish I could see it happening.
Yeah.
You know, look, we came into the offseason, we had the draft, like we talked about before. You know, the draft was very draft specific this year. There were no trades involving players under contract. Was the draft. You know, we had the taxpayer mid-level. We had some minimums. You know, like I said, we identified two very specific needs based on players that were leaving the roster. You know, I think you see the solution here with these guys. And, you know, now we get to, you know, now Summer League, the moratorium's over. We'll get to Summer League, we'll be with all of our colleagues, we'll start generating and being presented with different deals to kind of upgrade the roster. And we'll pursue those as diligently as we always do. You know, I think everybody wants answers in the first 24 hours, and that's just not viable, right? You know, you have an 82-game season, you don't write the narrative after game one. We have 4 months of off season, you don't write it on July 1st. So, like I said, you know, we'll get back in the trenches, start generating things with our colleagues, you know, talking around the league. Like I said, it's been an interesting time this summer. It's been very, very quiet. I think to date, the only trades have been, you know, Dwight for Mozgov, and I believe Wilson Chandler into Capram in Philly. I think those are the only trades to date, really, around the league. So the activity around the league is slower than it normally is at this point. I think we had teams with cap room, and I think teams are being fairly judicious. You know, looking at, you know, the mountain we're all trying to climb up in with his brother and his crew up there. So, you know, I think everybody's kind of trying to optimize their roster with what they have to deal with now. I think we've seen a lot of player retention. You know, I think there's been a lot of activity around the league. When you really look at the Western Conference, what's really happened? You know, LeBron went to the Lakers. So other than that, I mean, a lot of teams just took care of their own business. They signed their guys. They, you know, they played in the margins. They filled needs, you know, the way we have. And now we'll start getting into more generating deals that can have maybe a higher impact if they're available.
When stuff starts coming up about Dame and Los Angeles targeting him, do you pay attention to that?
Yeah, well, I would say this, you know, as much as I love LeBron, you know, the NBA isn't his personal game at Rucker, so he doesn't get to pick his teammates. It's not how it works. Damian's out there working. Damian is here. Damian has 3 years left on his contract. This isn't the world of let's just, you know, send a couple of texts out on a string and see who wants to run with us. This is the NBA. We have a collective bargaining agreement. We have contracts for players. We have people committed to organizations. We don't get involved. One of the nice things about being up in Portland is we're not in that media maelstrom, you know, down there. But, you know, clearly there are myths that some of our broadcast partners like to perpetuate because it is clickbait and it brings viewers. And at the end of the day, it's all much ado about nothing.
Neil, can you, obviously it's not just the team's decision because obviously players can sign when they want. Can you talk about...
Well, when they're free agents, they can sign when they want.
Right.
That's how it works.
I'm asking about, so Ed, Shabazz, and Pat. Can you just talk about kind of that decision to move on from that?
Yeah, well, we did. You know, we really felt like, you know, when we finished the season last year, where there were things we needed to identify, areas of improvement. We appreciate everything they did, but, you know, clearly what we talked about, you know, in postseason media availability was we had a really good offseason. And I think people were forgetting that. We won 49 games. We finished 3rd in the Western Conference. We won our 2nd outright division title. Okay, and we beat a lot of the teams that everybody is now concerned about who's just signing their own players back. So what we said was we're not going to overreact to the playoff result relative to what went on in the regular season, the success we had there, but we're also not going to underreact and not take a deeper lens to areas of our roster that need to be upgraded. So we really feel like we upgraded a couple of positions with the decisions we made today and the guys that are here. Honestly, with Ed, we loved Ed. If you speak with Ed, I was on the phone with Ed and his agent the minute the bell went off, talking to him when he was offered by Brooklyn to see if that was going to be the best deal for him and his family this offseason, knowing where the big man market was going. And I counseled him to take that job. And I think if you asked Ed today, the counsel was pretty good. So I get people missing Ed. No one will miss him more than Terry and I and the guys around here. But we also ran into a buzzsaw in the playoffs, and a lot of that had to do with floor spacing. It had to do with floor balance. It had to do with a lack of shooting from different positions on the floor. So we made a decision that we were going to make a move, clear up some roster spots, We drafted 2 big men last year, one of whom is going to be an incredibly good player with Zach Collins. The other guy we believe in with Caleb Swanigan. We have Myers Leonard on the roster. And we think their skill sets translate more to what we need coming off the bench in the NBA today than, as productive as Ed was, there were certainly limitations in terms of what it exposed us to defensively by an elite defensive team like New Orleans.